Thank you for joining us in the first episode of the Creative Equilibrium. Today's guest is a friend of mine, David Wilson. He's a designer, an illustrator, a videographer, and a professor. We sit down and have a conversation about how he got into the creative industry. We talk about his journey, where he got to where he is today. We talk about the challenges early on. We talk about some of his successes and how the industry is different today versus when he first started. We had a great discussion, and I hope everybody enjoys the episode. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, David Wilson.
Correct.
Right? Illustrator. Freelance illustrator?
I mean, we could get into this. I don't know.
How do you do? Yeah,
I don't know.
This is interesting because I feel like even for me, I own an agency, but I'm a graphic designer. I'm also a professor, but like I always like struggle like how do I communicate? I know like some of my employees will be like, you're a business owner, you should call yourself that.
Right.
But it feels like
I feel like
not what I want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like I'm different things to different people.
Oh, that's interesting.
You might know me as the guy who illustrated a graphic novel. Mm-hmm. I have buddies of mine who like in the past they know me as a guy who makes movies. The book cover people I work with, I'm a designer to them. You know, so like there's like these factions of I really enjoy all creative work, and I've tried to like dip my toes in all of it through different periods of my life.
Yeah.
So like depending who you are to me, you might think of me as like one thing versus another.
That's cool. I like that thought. I also feel like, so you and I are around the same age. I feel like we are like, I'm always like, I'm not labeled. Like like I think that exactly. I think that we don't like to be like, well, I'm like a lot more than just like a designer or whatever. So that's interesting. I'm sure like, so you're obviously a professor as well.
Yes.
What do you think that your students see you as?
A clown. No, I don't know. Like, again, like they had me teaching photo this semester.
Yeah.
And they're looking at, like one of them looked at me and they're like, well, you're the professional. And I was like, I've never taken a professional photo in my life.
Right.
But I love photo. And I do it as a hobby and it relates to the film I do somewhat professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's this weird like.
And you have that creative perspective.
I'm not a professional photographer.
Right.
But I take it as seriously as maybe one might.
That's cool. So, and I think that's very relatable. So I feel like everybody at a certain point in their lives, they kind of like, they have this aha moment that they feel like, oh, I do feel like I'm more of a creative person. You know, the people that don't, maybe they're like accountants or, you know, they like go into this different like realm. But we have like intentionally carved out like our occupation where we're leveraging our creativity to make a living. So where do you feel like, when did you feel like you realized that? Was it childhood? Was it school? Was it high school?
I think it was, maybe you'll relate to this. I think it was Kent State.
Okay.
So like I guess I was always creative, you know, drawing, wanting to make movies, whatever. Kent State, going through their undergrad program, I don't know if it gave me the confidence or the stupidity to look around and be like, I can do literally anything as long as I think creatively about it.
Oh, cool. So you went into Kent into their School of Visual Communication Design?
Yes.
So you had to have that attracted you somehow. So what drew
I went
you
to Kent because I wanted to make movies.
Oh.
So nice. I went in, I got in the journalism thing.
Okay, journalism, mass communication.
Yes, really bad at school. They were like, you're going to run a news camera. And I was like, I don't want to run a news camera. Yeah. Like, I want to make movies. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the English department.
Right.
I'll learn how to write. I'll write my own movies. Kevin Smith didn't go to film school. You know, like, I don't need to go to film school. Yeah. No, like, you're going to read all these books and write all these papers. I was like, I'm not doing that either. So I'm sitting 2 years into school. I have a 1.2.
Ooh.
And I get this letter, and it's like, you're going to get
kicked out.
See you later. And I don't know if you know him, Evan Richards. He was in a band. I was playing in bands. And he was like, dude, you're doing T-shirt design and album art and music videos and all this stuff. He's like, you need to come into VCD. And I was like, I don't even know what that. I didn't know graphic design was a career.
Yes. Yeah.
No idea. I get in there, and it's like, here's graphic design and illustration, and there's some motion and photography.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so if you're just like a creative person, you can like figure this out.
There's all these outlets that you can leverage.
Like if you learn type, you can apply those principles to photography, right? Like it was this like eye-opening experience of like, I can literally do anything as long as I think about it.
Yeah.
I can learn how to be an illustrator. You might, like maybe you're not like the greatest drawer.
Careful. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Right?
I'm not. Yeah, for sure. I'm not an illustrator.
Maybe you are. But maybe hypothetically, let's say you're trash. You could find an avenue of illustration by making textures or collages.
Yeah.
Because you're smart. Right? And then you go and you apply concept to it. And you think about it and shape and whatever. And now you're an illustrator.
Yeah, so
you're just not the illustrator you thought you might be at like age 10.
Right, or maybe my illustrator, I'm not a good illustrator. I can't do, I can't take charcoal or painting, but that doesn't mean that I can't creatively put something like abstract or do different forms to my art. I think that makes a lot of sense. And that's interesting because what you're doing is you're separating the technical execution of things with the ability to put creative input on it, which I feel like where we're going.
Yeah.
That second part, your ability to creatively think and use creativity with intention on things is going to be way more valuable than your ability to execute something.
Yes.
Now it reminds me, so like obviously when the camera first came out, photography was first a thing. I don't remember like I was alive, but I remember learning about that when a photograph was first done, painters thought we're out of jobs because now you can just click a button and something realistically is just executed. But what it opened up was that ability to like now art and paint, and it was there before, but now people said, well, no, now I can like add style and add
reaction.
Meaning. Yeah, exactly. And my painting isn't to make a portrait of David. It's to express an idea and creativity. So that's interesting as we get into kind of these unknown waters ahead. That thought that that whether it's illustration or whether, you can apply creativity to, I think, a lot of different jobs. That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess like piggybacking on that too. What I learned from Kent State is, which I appreciate, is I guess I've never considered myself as like an illustrator, an artist, or a designer because they put this idea in my head that I was a problem solver. Oh,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, but it sounds like, what do you do? I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
But like really it's like, you guys do this every day here, right?
Yeah.
So they bring you different problems that need either visually or marketing. Sometimes it's probably not even visually. It's just, do you have a good idea on how we can accomplish this?
Yeah.
But you have to think creatively about it.
Yeah.
So whether that's video or illustration or design or UX, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
We're having fun being creative to solve this problem.
I definitely remember in Kent them saying design is solving problems.
Communicating, solving problems.
Do you feel like, and maybe it's a struggle for all young design students, I feel like I see it in classes I teach, that they tend to gloss over that a bit and they want to get straight to the fun, the design. I'm on my computer, I'm picking out colors, I'm picking out type, and I think like kind of reminding people but why are we doing this? Like why is this color palette or this typeface? How does it speak to your audience? How is it a component in the larger scheme of things?
Right.
Do you think that's just a young designer problem, or do you think it's more prevalent now?
Both. I think people are pumped to make things.
Yeah.
I also think
that's a good point.
Telling like freshmen that, they're problem solvers, they're probably like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they're like,
I don't know.
I came to be a designer.
I feel like you learn it. Maybe I only understand it now with hindsight, or maybe we're not doing a good enough job of like explaining it beforehand.
I'm trying to think of when in my own design career, like at Kent, when did I think I made that shift of like, I'm just making really aesthetically cool things to seeing the larger value of being a problem solver, applying the creativity in a strategic and intentional way.
It was probably like junior or senior.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that makes sense in the evolution of a student. So you went to Kent knowing you were creative, but not quite knowing what avenue that was going to take you.
Correct.
And then you got it. So in Kent, in college, you decided,
I love it.
Yeah.
This is for me. Found it. Thank you. And I also decided like I didn't want a real job. I really fell in love with like, you know, if your guys' studio would have been around when I was in school, like it would have been, that would have been my shit. You know,
that's
like
you
I want to be Mike Caparanis.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at Pentagram and like Aesthetic Apparatus and Invisible Creature. There's all these like cool like duo design studios of just like small heads of state, just like a couple friends who started a design studio. And I was like,
it's cool.
That's what I want.
Yeah. And there's an appeal to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what we did. There's a reality to it too of like it like you saying that, I'm like, yeah, I want to work there, but I own that agency, right? So I know like the headaches and the other things that come with it, and like, well, yeah, we need to figure out estimating or sales funnels and all of this other stuff that you don't think about. But at the beginning,
it sounds great.
It was all fun, and at the beginning, you didn't know what you didn't know, so it was all fun. So you graduate.
Yes.
And when you graduated, did you know, like, you graduate, you just said, I knew I didn't want to have a real job. You graduate. You obviously, at that point, you need to start making money.
Yeah. So
how do you
I was like planning, like me and a couple buddies were like, we're going to do a design studio.
Oh.
And I was like,
did not know that. Cool.
Yeah. I was like, sweet, let's do this. And then they all moved. And then there's like me, and I was like, oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I knew a couple things. One, it's what I wanted to do. I was really scared of if I went and got a full-time job, everyone I knew that had one becomes like attached to it, right? Like, you make money.
Yeah.
You get your health insurance.
Golden handcuffs.
Yeah, golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I started, it was like called Downpour Studio. I got a space in Kent, need to make money. So I'm still working at the ice arena full-time. I got a job part-time at a screen printing place.
Cool.
I'm doing the graphics there. And then landscaping and like hauling wood with my dad.
And you're
trying to start this.
So you're like juggling 4 things.
Yes.
Yeah. You're really hedging the bets. Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah, right.
So I did that, and then I was just like sending stuff out, mailing stuff, trying to make those connections. I was doing like wedding photography. I'll do it.
Yeah.
If it
anybody that's paying. Anybody that's paying. We had a client early on that was like, do you guys do screensavers? Something I hadn't thought of since like 99. And I was like, yeah. And I remember telling Gabe, my business partner, I'm like, hey, we're doing a screensaver project. He's like, how the hell do you even do that? I'm like, we're gonna figure it out. And like, I don't know what their use of it, but we designed and animated it and figured out that whole process. This was like 2014, like a decade at least beyond when a screensaver should have been relevant.
I don't know when the last time I've seen a screensaver.
I did, probably like 2002, you know?
Yeah.
So when you were making, you said Downpour Studios?
Yeah.
Were you focusing on anybody that would pay, or were you focusing on illustration, design, video?
Mostly design.
Design, okay.
I just thought that was the market.
Yeah.
Like I was like, those are the studios I was looking at, right? Like those are the clients that people get. I really like branding. I thought branding was cool. There's no clients for that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want a big branding client, you have to actually have a studio.
Yeah, right.
Like it has a reputation.
For sure.
So I'm getting like branding projects, but they're like, we have $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need it.
And
I need your $100.
Yeah. And so you were solo at it, right?
I was solo, yep.
And that like
I was doing that whole like we're a studio, but it's just me.
But it's freelance. It's essentially you're working as a freelancer.
Yeah, 4 dudes in a trench coat.
You're marketing yourself as a studio.
Yes.
Very relatable. Like, so my business partner and I, Gabe, we kind of created JAC, and I was working full time as like basically a freelance contractor for it. And Gabe had a 9 to 5, you know, and he was kind of like doing it, but you'd be like, we're an agency, you know, and getting those first clients.
Studio.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember like one of our first clients was like a ski club, you know, like not the like ideal client that
Figure
you would,
skating club for me.
Yeah, right. Okay,
I was at the ice arena, right? And you're like, having other jobs actually helps this, right? You meet people through like your part-time jobs or whatever,
sure.
but that was
for sure.
I'm trying to run the studio. Oh, we have a figure skating club. Yeah, I'll do your logo. $100, give me that money.
It's funny. So I had this experience. I was interning. I was interning and I contracted to a relatively big corporation. So I was doing design work that was going out in the world, but like manufacturing and factory, like things I wouldn't see.
Yep.
And then we also had one of our first paying clients was a local Italian festival, and we did ads and we did a billboard for it. And that was the first like tangible job that went out into the world from the studio. And I remember when we first got that client, it literally felt like we were signing like a multi-million-dollar client. Like I felt like we did it, we won, we got it. And then also when we saw the billboard out there, we have a picture of like Gabe and I on the side of a highway that we pulled off, and we're like, we created that. That was like in our minds.
Yep.
And we did it, and through the agency, and it's out there. And it was, I remember like so like
it is a big deal though.
Yeah, even though I knew I had design that was out in the world that was going, getting translated in a bunch of different languages, but it wasn't.
It's not yours.
Exactly. It wasn't my brand. Yep. It wasn't, didn't have the creative freedom on it. It was that I remember when I go back on like why, like when, I'm like, what like fulfills me. I always remember those first seeing it. Now I've gotten spoiled. We see, like we talk about our work in the wild all the time. Yeah. But like to go back and see that for the first time, there's something really like, I remember being like, this is it. Like, this is all I want to do. So you start your studio.
Yes.
Downpour?
Start my studio Downpour. Okay. It's all like friends and family, local clients. My big break comes from my substitute teacher. I talk with my students about this one a lot. My substitute teacher calls me one day from high school. So I met this dude. He was a college kid. I was a senior. He played in bands. I would go to his band shows. Yeah. So like we bonded in like pre-Cal. Okay. He's only like 3 years older than me.
What an unexpected, didn't think pre-calculus was going to show up in this conversation.
He was super cool, and in pre-cal, he'd like hand worksheets out, and then we'd finish them, and we'd have 40 minutes left. And he would let me play my skate videos on the TV. I was like skateboarding a lot, making skateboard videos. Yeah. Anyway, fast forward, start my studio. He hits me up one day. He's like, hey, you used to make skateboarding videos. Do you do videography? I haven't done videography. But again, Kent State has kind of trained me to be like, I could do whatever I want as long as I'm curious enough to learn. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I could do it. He's like, you got a camera? I was like, yeah, I have a camera. Didn't have a camera. Didn't have like nothing. It's like I'm in a business, right?
So
like
relatable.
So I'm like,
of course, yeah, of course.
And I'm thinking it's something stupid, So I'm like, yeah, I could, whatever. They're like, we're gonna send you to London to film a documentary about these data centers. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. So a credit card, a camera. Yeah. I'm on YouTube for like weeks listening to like 14-year-old British dudes teach me Premiere. Yeah. I'm like trying to learn this before I go, get all my stuff, fly over, something about a work visa. They put me in jail, like in the airport jail, like bars.
Wait, this is great. So you get to the airport, you're in London.
I'm in London. They're like, why are you here? I don't know anything. I'm like, I'm working. And they're like, where's your work visa? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like,
I pass. I don't know what that is.
And they're like, well, you can't do that. And I was like, what? And so they put me in like airport jail. It's literal like bars, like a cell.
That's nuts.
I'm there for like 12 hours, just sitting there. I do like 4 interviews. And they're like, hey, we can't get a hold of anybody. This is 2009. Okay. So we don't have smartphones. Yeah. If I did, it wouldn't have worked internationally anyway. So I get my one phone call. I call my wife, girlfriend at the time. I'm like, you got a call message. Blah, 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 blah. Like, here's his phone number. I'm just sitting there and like, they're like, hey, your next flight back home is in an hour and we're going to blacklist your passport. And I'm sitting here like, okay, that sounds bad. Yeah. But with the camera and the tripod and all the stuff I bought, it was like $3,000. Right. I don't have money. Like this all on a credit card.
No.
And that was the job, was $3,000 I was
So
getting
you were
paid.
going to break even.
I was totally going to break even, but have new equipment.
So you bought the equipment.
So I bought like a
So
DSLR camera, tripod, some mics. It was all around $3,000.
Can I ask a question about estimating? Because I just remember having to estimate in the early days. When you came to that number, did they like give you the budget?
They gave me the budget.
They said, we're going to pay you $3,000. Did that include flights?
They paid for flights and everything.
Okay.
So it was a week of filming.
Yeah.
And I think like 2 weeks of like editing and back and forth.
Yeah.
And then since I was traveling, there was like, since they had already like planned on, like whenever they hire people, there's like they put on a trip. I think if I would have done it in America, it would have been less, but they're like, you get paid for your travel days. Even if you're not filming, we're taking, if we're not filming Tuesday, but you're traveling Monday, we're going to put $100 on it.
Yeah.
Right. Or something.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just sitting here like, dude, I'm going to be out.
So you're sitting in jail.
It like $3,000.
Yeah. Down $3,000.
Somehow like Misty ended up calling the
Misty's
guy, my wife.
Or your wife.
Yeah. She called the guy who hired me, and he went and like lied and said that they had hired me full-time. The paperwork hadn't. Because if I was a full-time employee, it was fine. It was the fact that I was a freelancer going over there to do a job and make money or something.
That's crazy. And this was something that you were just supposed to understand. Like this was the business part that like.
This is the problem of saying that I'm a freaking studio.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm literally like 6 months post-grad, like never.
And you just, So did like after he kind of got you out, was he like, what's that about? Like, why didn't you have your work visa or?
No, because I don't think he really knew either. He was just like, ugh.
He's like,
got out of that one, and
right.
like, it went fine. We did the week.
You got,
turned
so
in
you
the job.
Stay,
so then they ended up like hired me as a contractor.
Cool.
So they put me on a monthly retainer, which meant at that time it was like not a ton of work, but it was enough where it was like I'd stop landscaping and I stopped the screen printing job. So I start like replacing my real jobs with the jobs I want to do.
Yeah.
And then eventually I picked up so many jobs I could quit the ice arena.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, again, studio, but I'm a freelancer.
But you're at that time then, you are sustaining your living by doing creative work.
Yes, and so
in your agency, which is a cool feeling. I remember doing that. I remember getting to that point where I'm like, I don't know if I'll have work in a month. I don't know, but I am paying my rent and I'm getting groceries. I'm doing all these things, and no boss or employee is giving me money for it. I'm like doing that.
Yes, I think I read I'm not going to say the quote because I don't remember it, but it was from Hunter S. Thompson, and I remember reading it like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that was me. Back to defining what I am.
Yeah.
I never wanted to because it wasn't my goal. I never wanted to be an illustrator.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be a designer. I wanted to not have a job.
Yeah, and you feel like that was not having a job, right?
Yes.
Because
I'm doing what I love.
Yeah, you're not in a cubicle. You don't have a 9 to 5.
Real job.
You can kind of.
Which is so funny now. I talk to my students now, and they're like, all they want is a real job and some sort of stability.
There's stability in it.
And I get that. But my goal was never like, I'm going to be the best designer or I'm going to be the best illustrator. My goal was, can I be self-sustainable on my own work?
You talk about like you didn't ever want like a real job and things like that. I remember like during COVID, obviously the agency's 6-7 years old at that point, very stressful time. We had big jobs lined up, and all of a sudden 2 weeks later they're like, this is indefinitely postponed. We have a payroll at that point, which was stressful. You didn't really know what was happening. Now it all worked out, but I remember early on I was like walking around the park with my wife, and I was just like, man, it just feels like I'm so stressed. Feels like it would be easier to just like not be an owner. And my wife looked at me and she's like, you've actually ruined that for yourself. Like, I want you to imagine you going into a cubicle and a manager telling you what to do. Like, imagine how like just not compatible with that life that you are anymore. I'm like, you're right. And I realized because I started this, so just like you, I was out of college. I started so young. I think I ruined that opportunity. Like there's some niceties and like the comfort of that and not having to stress about certain things that it is. But like, I think that like that life has been completely like, I can't do it. I've like ruined myself for it.
Hearing our conversation right now, it feels like we are very like anti like dealing with people or working with people, which I don't feel is necessarily the case.
Yeah.
I think when we were younger, there was just this like, you know, growing up on like the movie Office Space or something.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
For me, it wasn't so much about like, oh, I needed to work for myself. It was just like, what I viewed corporate America was like, I don't want to live by those rules.
Yes, I think that's more it.
Like,
it wasn't that necessary. Like there was this, there's definitely this negative connotation with corporate America. I actually interned in corporate America.
Yeah.
And it's not that, honestly, when I was there, it's not that I was like miserable or anything. Yeah. But I remember being like, in my mind the whole time, it was like it was definitely temporary for me. I'm like, I'm just doing this for my internship or for the contractor. And there was always like, this isn't my long-term thing. Like I knew I wanted to give this a shot.
Yeah, and like for me, it was never like, oh, me. I need this to be mine. Yeah. Maybe a little bit, but like I wanted to start it with friends.
Yeah.
I was just like, I want to, if I'm going to spend 35 years or 40 years
100%.
Doing something, I want it to be fun and meaningful and with people I love.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, but like I was worried that like corporate America would never give me that.
Yes.
So I also thought I wasn't good enough to like go work at, you know, Pentagram, which I wasn't.
Yeah,
or any of these cool places I admire. So it was like, again, growing up as like punk skateboarder, it's like, I guess I'll just do it myself. Yeah. I'll create what I want.
Do you feel that like, you know, so like what you're talking about there is a little bit like imposter syndrome, right?
Oh yeah.
And that is so common in, I think, our industry. In my students, when we hire new designers.
Oh, I still have it.
I still have it.
I have it right now.
I own an agency.
I have it right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is, what makes that so common in the creative field? Is it that we just assume that when we see the final product of like those agencies you talked about, that those people have everything together and they're just like, because we don't see here was the early concepts that got shot down by the internal team, or here was you don't see the evolution of those things. You don't see when the client, when they pitch something, the client's like, this is totally wrong. Do you just, you're just looking at the...
Or like, just the lack of understanding. I think there's like, in our profession, there's no hiding. You can't
explain that. Yeah.
You can't talk your way out of a bad design. Can
you not?
No.
See, I don't.
No.
I don't agree with that.
Compared to a good design. So like.
Okay.
So
you can't like BS your way.
If I'm a student, or like me or you, right? So like I have imposter syndrome and you don't. Let's just pretend.
Yeah.
And we're both assigned to do a logo.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it on the wall.
Yeah.
There's going to be a stark difference on whose is good and whose is bad.
Yeah.
I think as a young person or as a student or other people, when I put my comic drawing up to someone that I look up to, there's no facade on like, I don't get to explain like, well, I only had, right? Like I just look at it and go, oh damn, that person's better.
You're just looking objectively.
Objectively.
That's good, that's bad. So
there is subjectiveness, but I think as like a young person in school or in the world, you just go around and you look at this stuff objectively and you're like, oh, I'm not that good.
You're basing it just on the pure like talent and skill.
Yes, which is probably wrong to do.
Yes.
But I think that's what fuels a lot of this is you teach, right?
Yeah.
You put up good student examples.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it inspires people. I would say 60% of the time it demoralizes people. Because they look at it and go, I can't do that.
Yeah, I understand that. I think, it's interesting. I think that there's obviously something to be said about like raw talent.
Yes.
And just but also I do feel like, and maybe this is my own imposter syndrome, is I always thought I was like good and not great at what I do.
Same.
But I think that as you mature in it and you get confidence around those other subjective things, the concept, the strategy, applying it, I think that and maybe even just like the ability to, I'm just gonna stick with this and power through it. So I think a good thing that I tell my students, hopefully I tell my designers too, is like, I think it's really easy to just compare end results. And if
it's like a base instinct.
Right, yeah. And if you just get there, if you go home and knock something out in one night and it's this, but then somebody else, it takes 10 revisions and thinking, I actually feel like, one, I think there's value in that struggle and that evolution. And I really, I don't care whether it was one night or not. And a lot of times people, from my opinion, teaching that have a natural ability to usually knock it out in 1 or 2 revisions struggle more with what I think is really, really tough for creatives, with taking feedback and applying it.
Yes.
The person who thinks I'm not good at what I do, or I'm not the best, are the ones that are going to be like, when you tell me this isn't working, I'm like, of course it's not working because I did it, and they'll like do it more.
Yes.
Whereas I remember with my students having like arguments with like really talented students where the class would say this isn't working, and they would say I don't agree with that, and then I'd say, okay, well, like, I'm telling you, I agree with their opinion. It's not working. And then they'd come back and not change it. And I'm like, why wasn't this addressed? They're like, I don't agree with that. And then you have to kind of say, if you pitch something to a client, even though you think it's great, and everybody you pitch it to is saying, no, this isn't working. I mean, one way is to dig your heels in and say, but you're done. Yeah,
you're done.
And frankly, if you're looking at it, if your goal is to make something aesthetic and look great, I guess you're fine. But if your goal is to solve that problem for that client, you've failed.
Yes.
And I think it's the people who have to go through, no, I can't just do it in one night, and I'm not, every time I go up to the plate, it's not a home run. I have to like work for it and evolve and stuff, and they're not just relying on their pure raw talent that I think have more value and lasting power.
Yes.
Because eventually, I think those like raw talented people either burn themselves out, or they don't find the ability to be able to. They almost have to be independent, or they don't have the ability to be able to like collaborate as
and
much.
Then are you an artist?
Exactly. I think that's such a good point. If you're making something just for yourself, at one point, when is it art and when is it design? And art, obviously, like even our artists like have to get feedback, but art, you're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And where I think that we as designers or creatives that are making a living with it, you balance that expression of yourself and your expertise and stuff, but you also have to balance that there is an opinion outside your own that matters on this.
Yeah, I always viewed it as like I was trying to express an idea.
Yeah.
And maybe like I have some purview into that, or I can bring my worldview or like my experience to that. But my job is to express a concept or an idea.
Yes.
And then if
that's yours or that's somebody else's?
That's not mine.
Exactly. That's
right. And then there's research involved in that.
Exactly.
Now I might have a take on that.
Yeah.
That I might put into it and say, well, based off my knowledge and my expertise of like what works and what doesn't, maybe that enters into the expression, but it's never like, oh, you gave me a job, and here's what I love.
Yeah, it rarely happens. I tell my students this a lot. I think that in the industry, you will get, especially if you're selected and you're a freelancer and it's not like your sole income, you'll get projects where you fall in the target market.
It lines up.
And that's great.
Yep.
It's awesome. But I think the true skill set is when you don't fall in that target market and you're still able to design for that market that you're not a part of. I think it takes maturity to do that.
Yep.
I think it takes a lot of strategic thinking. And I try to tell, especially when I teach kind of the higher level classes, senior classes, capstone classes, I always encourage them, choose a target market that you're not a part of, because when you next year, when you're out designing, chances are you won't be in that target market, and you still need to be able to do a good job of doing that. And that takes, it takes perspective and empathy and all of these things. You really got to put yourself into that shoes. And that, I think, is one of the drawbacks from seeing, like in academia when we're doing design, is I think the ability of like, well, I'm in a class, I'm a designer, I'm getting feedback from other designers or my professor who's a designer. So we're just all designing for this like core market.
Yeah, we need to have somebody like come in and just like throw a wrench in it.
Yeah, you need to be like, here's a project for like a manufacturing client that has like the target audience.
It has a boss that hates blue.
Yeah, and no reason why. And he's like, the target market is a 62-year-old rural person, and they're like, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great perspective.
To segue though, I think where we might have wanted to go. You do that work though, but then like, also that's what personal work is for, right? So like if you're, like I was working for the data center company, and I was making money, so I was living like my good life.
Yeah.
And then it's like the most boring data center, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was really into like magazines. I want to do magazine. I started the zine. It wasn't like great. Like I'd hit up bands and be like, write me stories, and I'll put a zine, sell it at concerts. It was fun. It was a way for me to design. I was screen printing them.
Yeah.
Getting into editorial stuff, and being the guy that started it, I did these like 2 little spot illustrations. And I remember I kind of hit a dead end on jobs for the studio, and I went and visited a professor that we had, Jerry Callback.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, hit me with some advice.
Yeah,
like, what do I do here? And he was looking through my portfolio, and he was like, nah. And he got to like the zine, and he was like, this is interesting. And he saw those little spot portraits I did of me and this dude, Dane. And he goes, oh, those are good. He goes, go home, do 100 of them, of celebrities, political figures, sports athletes, whatever. He goes, mail those to magazines.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay. Went home, did 100. Printed little postcards, and then I went to, I think it was Borders at the time, it was a bookstore.
Yeah, yep.
And I went through every magazine, and I took a picture of their mailing address.
Nice.
And I looked who the creative director or the art director was. So I had 320 magazines. Mailed all those out.
Yeah.
Only one person got back to me, but it was Men's Journal.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it's like, cool. Your billboard moment.
Yep.
That was me. I was like,
were you so pumped?
Dude, I was like, it was like $200.
Yeah.
$200 for the spot, but
you're like, I got it.
I'm in. Like
and then you get that brand.
I'm an illustrator.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
And so I started doing monthly stuff for Men's Journal.
Sweet.
And then the art director left. He went to the WWE.
Oh.
So then he hired me at the WWE, which is my lowest paying job ever. But it was WWE, so
so it's cool. Yeah. Right.
I'd trade the pay for the name.
Yeah, right.
But so I start sending out these mailers every 6 months of the spot portraits because people seem to like them. They pick up, art directors talk, creative people talk. So I start getting my name floated around to like Boston Globe, The Atlantic. Some of these the mailers are hitting, others it's just like reference. But now I'm balancing that like design and illustration.
Right.
People are hearing I'm doing videos, so doing like documentaries with bands. They're flying me to Japan.
It's just you.
Right now, it's just me. I've given up on like trusting anyone or like even thinking about like again, like I am still so bad with like money and contracts and all that stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the brain to learn it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't bring anybody. I don't know how you do it, like payroll and
it's probably not that you don't have the brain. It's probably like that the idea of learning it seems so just like unappealing to you.
Yes.
I get it. There are certain things that as our agency has grown, I have been a designer less and a business owner more. And there are some days that I'm just like, I became everything I hated. I didn't like doing all this stuff. And you have to balance that with getting back to team. I've talked to my team before where I'm like, hey, I know I don't need to be doing it, but you got to pull me on. You got to give me something creative to work on because I'm just feeling like I am, like I'm just a business owner. I'm looking at profit loss statements and estimates and it sucks. And
again, the antithesis of like what
right, exactly. There's times where I think like when I was 23 and we started the agency, there are times if I feel like I sat down and I told my 23-year-old self where the agency is, my 23-year-old self would be like, You did it. You got it. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
This is what we dreamed of. But then if I would tell my 23-year-old self,
Here's your
this is
schedule.
what I do every day, they'd be like, that sucks, man. Like, that's not as appealing. And part of it is, like, yeah, it's part of it's part of the journey in the growth. And I think you need to, there's a point when you're growing that you make that choice of like, am I going to start to hire, start to delegate, and get all the great benefits that come with that?
Yeah.
Or am I going to say like, this is gonna stay with me and
and I think like at that point I had learned like I liked the creative work so much that I knew, making a company that's where it goes, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I want that. And like everything was going good, I'm making videos, I'm doing the data center stuff. I got introduced to through my illustration work, like my editorial illustration work for like nature stuff. I got introduced to Belt Publishing.
Cool.
Which I'm the creative director there now for like do all the book covers and yada yada yada. So like things are going good, and then like
what year is this?
Probably like 2012 to 2016.
Okay, gotcha.
Awesome. And then like you decide to have kids.
Yeah, right.
What a dumb idea.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding. No, but like we had our first kid and it was cool. She's awesome. And then the data center company, they had started a magazine. So I was running the whole magazine. It was going awesome. And
were you on retainer?
I was on retainer.
Yeah,
so like I don't have health insurance. It's all like piecemeal 1099s.
But it's probably scheduled, right? Like
that was scheduled. So one of my clients was scheduled. I knew I had a base thing coming in. Some years it's higher, some years it's lower. They shuttered. So they're like, hey, magazine's done.
Oh.
I was like, oh, so there's like, depending on the year, 50 to 60% of my income.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I have a kid now.
Yeah.
Like I'm down for like Mad Max life.
Yeah.
I'll sleep on the couch.
Yes.
Like I'll live wherever. I don't care. I can't make my kid do that.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
there is that responsibility as it's like a little employee,
Yeah.
Like I gotta take care of these people.
A little employee that is like literally bringing no ROI.
Yeah, totally pointless. Just like draining my accounts. My wife was teaching at the time or starting to teach. So if she got a job,
high school, college,
elementary.
Okay.
So
there was a teacher.
Yeah. Like as this was shuttering, she was like applying. So we're in this weird like funk of like, oh God.
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Because I was kind of like floating her while she went to grad school.
Well, the nice part is teachers are known for their massive salaries. So you
tons of money.
Right
like
when she gets that job,
much money.
You're good. Yeah.
So yeah, she ended up getting a job, and then I think I ran into a professor at Kent State University at the art store, and he was like, hey, do you want an adjunct for us? And I'm like, dude, I don't have any money. Like, yeah. Again, imposter syndrome teaching big time.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
also known for their pay, adjunct professors.
Awful.
So you were good. Yeah,
totally. Like, it ain't that much money. But like, I don't know. I was like, I've been working alone this is like 10 years at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been alone. I was like, maybe community would be cool, whatever.
Yeah.
So I hop in, I start adjuncting, and I just like being in the class is sick.
Yeah.
You just 2 hours, you just talk art.
Right.
How could this be better? What are we doing wrong? Like, it was so cool. And then they were like, do you want to go to grad school? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never go back to school. Like, I'm done with school.
Yeah, I did it.
And, they were like, we'll pay for it if you teach. And I was like, I have nothing else.
So you were an adjunct before you started teaching?
Yes.
So did you go from adjunct to being a GA?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I was an adjunct, and then they offered me free school if I kept teaching. Mm-hmm. And that like paid for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have like nothing else on the horizon.
Yeah.
Misty and I were pitching Play Like a Girl.
The book that she wrote the book.
She wrote the book. It's about her life playing football in 7th grade.
Yeah, and you did the illustrations for the book, and this book is out.
But there's like 0% chances this is gonna work.
We'll get to this in a minute, just out of curiosity. Before you pitch it, is the book like illustrated? It's written or illustrated, or is it like...
No, she came to me one day and she's like, hey, like my kids are loving these graphic novels. I had been trying to do graphic novels. I had like 26 rejections or something.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, graphic novels are sick. Like,
Yeah.
And she's like, my kids love them. I think I could write one. And I was like,
Sweet.
Okay, cool. And she was like, would you draw? I was like, of course.
Yeah.
This is all like as I'm entering grad school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, again, the chances of like
one kid?
our second was just born.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're like in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like, again, there's like, I've been rejected 20 plus times. So I'm just sitting here like, yeah, we'll try it.
Yeah, might as well.
Whatever, it's not going to work. Yeah. So I'm like doing the grad school thing. I'm still freelancing.
Yeah.
Still trying to pick up freelance clients. Because again, like I love teaching, but I was like, I'm not a teacher.
Right. I still
I'm not a teacher. Like I'm a freelancer. I got to get my client I'm doing this till I get my client list back up.
Right.
Or find whatever. And then Play Like a Girl, we sent it out. We got an agent like pretty instantly. We sold it.
How do you even know where to send that to?
So Misty did all the legwork on this, but you basically, there's like a publisher's marketplace or like Google, but you find like, so ours was graphic novel. You just like would Google graphic novel kidlit agent. You're going to get a ton of them.
Yeah.
And just like I did with my spot illustrations, you just query them.
Yeah.
Here's my book. We did sample pages, a pitch.
Yeah.
And then they say, sure, we'll represent you. And then they work with you on your pitch. Make it better. Then they have a network of editors.
Right.
That work at the publishers that buy your book.
Okay.
So like for our agent, we sent out to maybe 30 or 40. We got probably 33, 35 rejections. I think we only had 5 people interested.
Okay.
Did some interviews. We picked one. He's awesome. And then we go through this process again. We send it to 20 some publishers. No. We had.
Is there any explanation with it or just rejection?
Sometimes, we already have a sports book on our list.
Yeah.
We're not going to pick up another one. Oh, this doesn't fit. If you're an editor, it's like, maybe I just don't want to talk about football for the next 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had 3 people interested, so we did interviews, and then we ended up selling 2 books. So we sold Play Like a Girl, and then they put another one on the back end.
And was that created? Like, did you have an idea, or is it just like the next book?
We're still working on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're not even pitching like our next idea is this. They're just like, the
no,
next
so
one you're doing, you have to publish through us.
Yes. And it's a way for them to kind of entice you to sign with them.
Right.
So like the one people offered, they're like, we'll buy your book. But the other company wanted it, and they're like, we'll buy your book, but we'll also buy a second book.
Buy the second one, yeah.
And we're like, oh,
When you get that offer, are you just like feeling ecstatic?
Yeah, that one was big.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
So that was happening when you were a GA for me, right?
Yes.
I was teaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion
design at Kent State University, and
all that was like going on, and like yes.
Yeah, because I remember us talking about it during that. So how long of a timeline is this whole process of?
So we pitched.
Your wife comes with the idea. You do the
We pitched. It was like 2018.
Yeah.
I was working on Play Like a Girl, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
In 2020, and we were working on Play Like a Girl up to 2021.
Were you a GA for me when COVID hit?
Yes.
It was that semester.
Halfway.
Yeah, it was that semester.
Yep. So we were pitching the publishers right then.
Yeah. I remember you like.
And then we signed in May, and then we took 2 years to write it.
Oh.
Write it and illustrate it and get it going.
So in this instance, is your like publisher like the client? Like you, even though it's your story and your illustrations, are they giving you feedback creatively?
Yes, but I would not call it client.
Okay.
It is very mutual.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's almost like.
It is not do what I say.
Yeah.
It is not this is what I want. It is very much as like a teacher mentoring experience of like.
Gotcha.
Based off my experience in the book publishing world and being an editor and working with other authors, your story drags.
So it's almost like. Okay, so it's almost like working with an internal person, like a creative director or whatever, that's giving you a little bit.
I think other people might disagree, but like I love editors.
Okay.
I feel like they don't get enough credit. They are as creative of a mind as me or you.
Sweet.
You know, like to me, it would be like me and you sitting down working on a project.
Yeah.
I might be the author or owner of it.
Yeah, you might be the
like,
driver of it, but
Yeah.
I'm giving you mutually benefit,
substantial, helpful feedback.
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
And-
that's really cool.
And like, so when we go through this, we also interview editors. And part of that is like, do I jive with you?
yeah, right.
Do you see what I see?
Is this somebody I want to work with?
Or like, you know, do you bring up something where I go, oh, I didn't consider that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Or I don't like what you just said.
So
to
you
me.
guys, you want to
You know?
make sure your goal, like your goals and your vision are unified, and then when you sign up, you're both going towards that.
Yeah, and it makes it really hectic too because, you know, you might have somebody you just love, and then, you know, other factors play into this of like, oh, they're offering you an extra book.
Yeah.
Oh, they're offering you $50,000 more.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, this company is notorious for being like really good to their authors.
Mm-hmm.
But this company, you know, maybe you love the editor there, but their company is notoriously like, nah.
Yeah.
So it's this weird like balancing act of like, it's really risky, but I don't know. It's hard.
Did you? Yeah, I'm sure. You probably. I mean,
And they're all like all the editors are pretty smart and genius too. So it's like,
yeah.
how do you choose between?
Yeah, it's probably tough. So what do you? So the book goes out.
Book goes out.
You're now working on like a second book, right?
Yes. So we have our second book, which went through a lot of like, since we didn't have one, we've spent probably 2 years trying to figure out the right idea.
Oh, are you pitching that to the editors?
Yep.
Do they have to approve it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have an idea?
We had one. It was really awesome, and we just realized it wasn't working.
Gotcha.
Misty grew up like going to she lived in a factory. Like her mom worked.
She lived in a factory?
Well, she lived at her grandma's house, but they were kind of like in between stages, and her mom set up like a bedroom in the bathroom at the factory, and like that's where they sleep at night while she worked the night shift. And like we're talking, so we wanted to be about like poverty and like growing up kind of poor and like having a fractured family, and kind of got adultish out of the kidlit realm. So we kind of scrapped it a little bit.
The themes got a little heavy.
And then the one we ended up with was Misty has lived a weird life. Got a phone call one day, and it was her stepmom, but she didn't know she had a stepmom. Oh. And she was like, hey, your dad wants to meet you. And she was like, I live with my dad. And they're like, that's not your dad. Like, your dad lives in Florida. And like, they didn't tell her.
Wow.
Like her mom never told her.
Wow.
So like, that's the book, but we didn't have enough of a story. It has this like wow reaction.
Yeah.
But then there wasn't enough story.
Like what's
so we've spent like a year fictionalizing it. So it won't be a memoir, but we're pulling from Misty's real life, but it's a fictional character.
And then that brings you now you're obviously working on this, but you are teaching pretty full time, right?
Teaching full time, still doing the belt stuff. Still freelancing. And then in the meantime, right, so Play Like a Girl hits, our agent is like, hey, David, do you have any stories? And I was like, well, by fact, I do.
Yeah.
So then I pitched a story. I sold it. So I turned that in literally maybe 5 months ago. That comes out next August.
Oh, cool. Next August?
Next August.
Yeah.
So finished that one. And then Misty wrote a novel. She pitched it to my editor. And my editor was like, hey, I like it. Can you make it a graphic novel? Cool. So we sold that.
Oh.
So then there's that one.
Yeah.
Congrats,
man.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
It's like, oh man, I have a lot to draw.
Yeah.
But it's weird how like, again, like work begets work a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think it's, how do you get more of what you want to do? You just go.
You have to do it, right? Like it has to be there. And then people see it and they go, oh, that's cool.
So something as I have grown in my career and I have grown in my life. When I first started the agency, and if the client work wasn't what I wanted to do, I would do personal work.
Yeah.
I would do posters and
Yep.
and fake projects and stuff.
Yes.
As like to
Yes.
get that creative fulfillment out on that way. And at a certain point, I got to maybe just because I was designing a lot or working a lot, that outlet. I didn't need design for a creative outlet because I designed, but I
Right.
still needed. I didn't design for fun anymore because it was like my work.
Yeah.
And I think what I have found is as I have gotten older, and I've become, I teach at Kent State University too. I only do one class. I'm running the agency full time.
Yeah.
I have a wife and kids, and what I realized is, and like that creativity still needed an outlet, but in a new weird way.
Yes.
Like I had to find the balance of things. I still have to find the balance, like in my agency, of like what's too much work. Like if I'm really heavy with like work, then I will go in and be like, I don't want to think about design or colors or anything like that. How have you felt your creative balance has like shifted? When did you need to make changes, or how have you felt like you balanced everything out? Because like you got a lot going on, and what I always liked about you, because I knew you a little bit when we were in school.
Mm-hmm.
Then I knew you. Then you were my GA, and then we became friends, and we did this. Is like you are authentically yourself. Like you like are still going to music shows. You're still into what you're into, but your roles in life have changed so much. How have you just kept that like balanced? Is it intentional? Is it just organic?
I think it's organic because I can't come up with a good reason other than I just feel compelled to do it.
Cool.
Like I can't stop.
Okay.
Like so there, which leaves me with like no room, or like I have to figure out how to balance it.
Have you ever ran into burnout?
This summer was actually the first time I hit, not creative burnout though. Like I just overextended myself.
Yeah.
Like too many trips, tryring to fit too much work in.
You just felt personal burnout.
It was just
from
like
just doing too much.
Yes, but I've never felt like creative burnout.
Really, that's great. I've felt.
I mean, there's projects where I'm like tired of.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, so what's the next project? Like I'm done with this.
Do you
or like back to the earlier talk of like doing all this stuff, right? So like the graphic novels right now, I am a little bit like I'm a little tired of drawing comic panels.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is like this summer, I was like, I want to write and film a movie.
Oh, cool.
It's not drawing.
Yeah.
It's still creative.
It's
right,
not
but
drawing.
I'm not drawing. I'm working with cameras again, and like then I'll take
different.
and I don't get burnt out on that. And be
it's
like,
probably exciting.
Yes.
That's such a key. So I definitely feel creative burnout at times, and I think that's key. Is like I still feel creative. I still have the urge to do it, but I don't want if I'm at home and like. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna like design something. I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do because I'm doing it all the time. But I want to get into like woodworking and make toys for my kids, or do letterpress or things like that. Like, there's other outlets.
Or if like I called you up and was like, yo, we're making a zombie movie. Like, you want to come on?
I'd be like, absolutely,
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna use my creative brain to problem solve some like cool stuff.
100.
And it's like you're still getting kind of that creative hit.
It's fresh though,
but it's not the same thing you've been doing for 8 hours.
It doesn't become a pattern.
So like pacing different creative activities throughout the month. Like now I'm back to like I miss designing. I haven't designed. I haven't put type and image together. In so long. I'm like, I think I'm gonna do a zine again.
Cool.
I don't care if nobody sees it.
I actually wonder if your balance of the amount of things that you're doing, with the different things. I'm a teacher. I'm doing illustration on comics and novels. I'm doing design and covers and stuff. I wonder if that has really created like a really healthy balance in your life, that if you're at one, I mean, not probably for time.
You watch The Simpsons at all?
Yeah.
There was an episode where Mr. Burns had like so many diseases that it kept him healthy. And like if they took out one of the disease, it would all fall. I feel like that's kind of it. Like,
there's so much going on that it's balancing each other out.
Like I can take a breather from a certain thing and allow myself to step into a different world. Teaching allowed me that too.
I agree.
Where it's like, oh, now I can just step in and kind of be a mentor, like a mentorship role. I'm still being creative about how I approach the classroom, right? And and I'm learning how to teach, and I'm problem solving this from a creative standpoint. I'm not looking at me like I want to be a teacher. It's okay, so here's the problems in the classroom. How do I creatively solve this?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, so you talked about you don't like label yourself as something. I never really labeled myself as a teacher, but that role is important to me.
Yes.
And the mentorship of it.
Yes.
I will say one of the things, even though every time I'm asked to teach a class, I always debate it. I'm like, man, I got so much going on. I got 2 little kids at home, this and that. I always go back to it, and there is something very refreshing about seeing the fresh perspectives, feeling like you have a really good impact on helping and providing mentorship for the young students and everything like that. And I can definitely see how that. I mean, for me, that's a great outlet.
It was a new piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
stop the burnout almost by adding more.
Yeah, but by adding something different, and that, like, the output of that is different, right? You're not providing designs or
right.
you are again addressing the problem of how do we teach students and mentor students with that creative thinking and that perspective. You talk. It's funny. Like there are times, like it doesn't happen as often now, but especially like when I had less of a team and I was doing a lot and burnout would hit, I would like go to my wife and be like, "We're moving. I just want pumpkin patch out and like we're just gonna be farmers and I don't want to think about type and client and target audiences ever again." And of course, like that's just like like an escape dream. But that's really cool. That's a perspective I haven't thought of, that you're dividing your plate, even though you're really busy, you're dividing it up so no one thing is taken the amount of it. And in an odd way, that has kept you from burning out.
I think so. I've never thought about this till you asked the question, but I think so.
I think
we did touch on this earlier though, like industry and society burnout.
Oh yeah.
And like how what we do is viewed,
right?
How what we do is like partaken in, how people value it now. Like I'm really burnt out on a lot of that.
Are you burnt out on the conversations? Are you burnt out on the dialogue? Are you burnt out on like your own reflections on it?
I think my own reflections, but also I think, so this is where it gets kind of meta, but like I don't think we live in a shared reality anymore.
Okay.
I think there is a reality, and I think there's a perceived reality. And
of course,
sometimes like when I'm at home, my perceived reality is that what I love about what we do is the humanity in it, the passion in it. And I don't think anybody cares about that on a grand scale anymore. But then when I come to things like this and I meet all these fabulous people here and I go into the classroom and I talk to people and I go, oh, people do care. But maybe it's my like own little sphere right now. But like, I don't know. I think when we grew up, there was so much stock put into like good ideas and like
authenticity.
And like, I think that's why we got into it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's just like everything.
Can I give you some hope?
Give me some hope.
All right. This is
the industry burnout.
And we're speaking about AI and its effects on our industry. I think one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot and reflecting on, but I just listened to something not that long ago that actually gave me some really big hope in it. So I taught, one of the classes I taught a couple years ago was the history of graphic design.
Yeah.
And I had not studied that since I took it, and one of the things that I found interesting, this is a couple years right before AI was like legitimately like talked about every day. Clients weren't bringing it up. That
injected into your veins as you go get the bus. Yeah.
Was every time a big revolutionary thing has happened to our industry that has made it more accessible.
Yes.
All of a sudden, quantity goes up, quality goes down, and there's a counter movement of people who pine for authentic and genuine things.
Yes.
It happened when Gutenberg made the printing press.
Yes.
Monks were like, I mean, we used to handwrite books. This is this is BS. Like this is crap. Then you get the kind of the market flooded with things are easier now. But then what happens is people notice the quality goes down and they pine for authentic things. Look at the whole arts and crafts design movement. Was directly, a counter movement to the Industrial Revolution where everything was mass produced. So this brought me up to, I was listening to this podcast. I wish I could remember who like what the name of the podcast, but they were talking about AI, and they said their view on it is that you will because everything is becoming disingenuous and removing the humanity out of it. Yes, the market's going to be flooded with that.
Yeah.
But people, just like when things are mass produced, why do people buy like handmade items? Because they don't value it's not necessarily the end product. They value the process of it.
Yes.
And they pine for genuine things made by humans.
Yes.
And we're going to be able to apply that handmade, the whole handmade thing that has been marketed for years. It's now, what this podcast was talking about is it's going to be human made. And that's going to be a stamp that people are going to pine for. This is actually a human made idea, design. Thing, and it will be different, and not everybody's gonna need it, and it will change. But the want for an authentically made thing and the imperfections that come with it being made by a human, is the value. And it gave me a little bit of hope.
I love your faith in humanity.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I have none.
Yeah. I am probably I'm always overly optimistic about
I am
things.
so glad people like you exist.
Yeah.
To counterbalance me, because I'm like, yes,
but
I don't see it anymore. No.
Well,
I think in here.
But,
and then you go outside and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but I think it'll be different. Not everybody's going to do it, but there are people, there are, I mean, we're a group of them in this office right now.
I also think my argument to that though would be the printing press and whatever the camera, the AI stuff and even beyond AI, let's just say motives.
Yeah.
Feels so forced. I feel like this isn't some invention that is oh my God, that is awesome. This is it is being pushed on us so hard.
Right.
That it's it doesn't feel the same to me. I think there's a correlation.
Do you think it just feels very personal because of your industry?
No, I think I could see the correlation of new technology and AI being compared to the printing press. I understand that correlation.
Yeah.
The motives behind it, I think, are different.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I think the printing press is just
this is cool. This is to enhance humanity, right? This is to communicate better. This is profit driven, right? But and maybe this is me being optimistic. So was the Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
And I'm not as binary with things, and I think that. Go ahead.
My worry, my pessimism and cynicism is that this is profit driven, but not profit driven for any of us.
Oh, well, that's 100% true.
Right?
That's 100% true.
Yes.
But you know what AI can't affect? It cannot affect is your creative outlet. You can still go, maybe it affects your ability to make a living off that or whatever.
Yeah.
It certainly will, and we'll need to pivot and adjust. But the need to creatively express yourself through film and illustration and stuff, AI can't affect that. You're still going to need an outlet for that.
And I do think
and there's still people who value that.
The kids call it boomer art.
Yeah.
Really? I do think there's going to be
yeah.
There already is a negative reaction to this. I love your hope.
I will be hopeful.
I think
I will continue.
This kind of segues into something where what I want out of design now is you talked about JAC, kind of rethinking what clients you take on.
Yeah.
And you've been working for a lot of nonprofits.
Yes.
And you said it's been very fulfilling.
Yes.
As I get older and in this game, my whole thing now is I want what we do to be human driven.
Yeah.
And I want to make life better for people. And I want people to have jobs and taste and art. I think what we do is so cool. I do feel like people are trying to take it from me.
For sure. It certainly feels yes.
It doesn't feel like they're giving me something.
No, I agree.
To make this better.
It feels like not to be that it feels like being a creative used to be you're in that club. You know, you're
Yeah.
in like, this is our niche, and it feels like it just got opened up and everyone's like, well, that's not really special anymore because we can do all these things. But I think that's missing the point a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's going to be not, you know, it's going to be different. But my hope goes back to, why are people paying more for handmade things versus mass-produced things?
Yeah.
Because functionally, the handmade ones are imperfect and might not be. And so because we value...
I'm worried as we go down this line, the people won't value it.
Well, I think there will be a market of people that won't.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there's always going to be this. I think there'll be a swing. There is going to be I think, and I hope, that there is going to be this swing from, we feel everything is so inauthentic and AI made
Yes.
and everything, that we pine for the human interaction. This is already having, I think, an impact from a psychological standpoint on society. And people,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, and I think that there's hope. I think there's hope.
I back it.
Okay, cool.
I'm injecting what you got.
Yeah. Gutenberg got criticized, you know, so like, and now, you know, like, think about it. So there's, I am choosing to remain optimistic, even though things will drastically change, even though we'll have to change it. I think there's huge value in human creative things, both for the individual creating,
Yeah.
and then for the, I guess, the customer or the market.
I am going to remain pessimistic,
Okay.
but knowing that optimism is the only way forward.
Yeah, right. What else do you do?
Yeah.
David, it's been great, man. Thanks for
Love it.
sharing.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. What was one last piece of advice? So you're very pessimistic
Yes.
about creatives. You're teaching young creatives right
Yes.
now. So if they're like, whoa, what am I doing in my career? What's a single piece of advice that you would give to young people who are creatives?
Try to be as curious and caring as you can.
I think that's great.
And I think it will help your creativity and the world.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to The Creative Equilibrium, a JAC Creative production hosted by Mike Caparanis.